The gate leads to a small courtyard, and there's a few things of note in this courtyard. Firstly, the area to the player's very left is a giant archway that leads to a corridor, a kind of trench that is huge and expands a long way. And flanking that corridor on both sides are rows upon rows of ginormous 100-foot tall statues depicting skeletal, almost like pharaoh-looking rulers or high priests of some sort sitting on thrones with their backs to the wall facing one another. They're also covered in that familiar web substance, and they are covered in it to such an extent that they form a sort of curtain of web. All of these statues form this kind of curtain with the statue they're facing, so there's multiple curtains that are so tall and so thick and don't react to fire the way that spider web might, that this is clearly an area that's closed off to the players for now. Unless they know how to fly or climb sticky webs and manipulate webs to some extent, there's no way to get through this place right now. But in the middle of the courtyard, there is also a fountain. Now, this is a very decorative celadon-colored fountain that has a large statue sculpture of the Celadon Queen at the head of it. And this depiction of her has her in a kind of ecstatically and serenely looking upwards while holding her hands in such a way to where all her fingertips touch her jawline, and from between the palms of her hands flows a fountain of blood, and it looks very much like as if she had a slit throat where this blood is pouring out from. If the players look into the fountain to look at this blood substance, they can see these kind of shadowy, ghastly aberrations, these sort of forms of skulls and faces kind of contorting and stretching as they're moaning, this kind of tortured kind of moan of the damned. And also in the room, in the courtyard, there are humanoid bodies in different stages of disrepair. They are all skinless, they are all completely bright red with blood, they are all like, some of them are missing limbs, some of them are just heads with like protrusions coming out of their neck holes so that they can slither forward like snails, and they are like messing the entire courtyard up with their blood as they're kind of slushing around, and they're moaning this kind of zombie-like tortured moan. And if the players look around for a while and search the place and all that, something is going to happen. On the very right, there is this sort of 10-foot wide, almost a blast door looking gate. It's completely flat, and there's really no slits or anything really to see through. It just looks like a heavy slab of metal, except that in the middle of it there is a kind of circular formation, this sort of mechanism that has an embedded rune on it, or something that looks like a rune. And if the players look around for a while, the mechanism is going to start to turn, and it's clearly clicking and clanking and winding up, and after it's wind up all the way, the gate is going to open, revealing this 10-foot wide pathway downwards into a very dark and dank kind of an installation. And from behind this door walks out a sort of construct. It's something very familiar to, or very similar to a cadaver collector, but a cadaver collector is a very rough monster for early level players, so it merely fulfills a similar task. You can have this construct be just a animated armor at this point, because it's not going to be belligerent to the players, so destroying it easily is not going to be a problem. It's a large construct that has a very arched forward, kind of hunched back, that is filled with spikes. And with its long skinny limbs, it's gonna march on forward, and it's gonna grab all these forms from the floor and attach them to the spikes and collect them out of here like a trash collector or something. If the players were paralyzed in the last room, it will open the gate leading to that room, and it will collect the players as well, puncturing them on its back spikes, which is going to hurt a lot, but not cause like horrifying injuries to the players. It's more of a thematic kind of thing, just giving them like, let's say 1d10 piercing damage, and they're hanging on there, and it hurts, but it's not a long trip. And the players, if they're just moving up and about, the construct is not going to pay any mind to them. Once it's collected all the bodies from the ground, it's going to turn and get back to its the place it came from beyond the blast door, and the players can easily just follow him. If they destroy him, the gate, the blast door, is going to shut, but they can figure out that the construct had this appendage that can stick into the mechanism and turn it and thereby open the gate. So it's not going to be hard if their first impulse is to destroy the construct, it's not hard to get the key to the blast door off of it. And this is where we're going to follow up next.